The PTA meeting erupted before it began. Mrs. Takahashi shot to her feet, her voice slicing through the packed hall.
Poor kids out. They don't belong on this trip, and they never will.
Hands shot up across the room. A forest of agreement from the wealthier parents.
And honestly, some of the parents here look like they can't even afford lunch, let alone a plane ticket.
Daiki Sato didn't flinch. His son had earned his place through merit. But he knew that truth wouldn't matter here. The clique of wealthy parents sneered, whispering behind manicured hands. Then, Mr. Kondo rose from his seat.
She's right. If we let scholarship kids come, it'll embarrass the entire school. This is an overseas trip, not a charity picnic.
Principal. Akiyama's hands tightened on her papers. She knew the donor's secret, but her silence was bought with a promise.
Enough talk. Let's vote. All in favor of excluding the scholarship students, raise your hand.
But in the third row, Daiki Sato simply watched. His son's future hung by a thread, and his face revealed nothing at all. The count continued. Mr. Kondo's gaze swept the room, locking onto Daiki's plain gray jacket.
And look at some of these parents. A man who dresses like that can't possibly afford a trip abroad.
My son earned his place through academic merit. That's the only currency that should matter here.
Principal Akiyama rose, her voice firm. But Mrs. Takahashi cut her off instantly.
We've heard enough sentiment. Continue the vote. Principal, let the majority decide.
The principal sat back down, powerless. The tally climbed.
Before the vote is finalized, do any of you know who funds the scholarship program that sends these children to this school?
Silence spread. The raised hands froze. Whispers rippled through the rows.
What does that have to do with anything? The donor is irrelevant. We're talking about standards.
Daiki Sato remained motionless, the only one not looking around. The question hung heavier than any raised hand.
If this school insists on coddling charity cases, then perhaps my donations should find a better home.
Principal Akiyama's jaw tightened. She knew the school relied on every contribution, but this ultimatum twisted in her stomach.
The vote will continue. Please raise your hands if you support the exclusion.
Hands shot up once more, a wave of certainty washing across the room. The exclusion was passing overwhelmingly. The wall clock ticked, each second hammering the finality of the decision. The principal's fingers hovered over the tally sheet. The number was final. But then she froze.
I cannot let this happen. Not when the one who made all this possible is sitting among us. Before I announce the result, there is something every parent here deserves to know.
A murmur rolled through the audience. Even Mrs. Takahashi's smug expression flickered. In the third row, Daiki Sato's expression did not change. He had waited 10 years for this moment.
This school's entire scholarship program, every trip, every facility, half this building, is funded by one person. One anonymous benefactor.
One person? Probably some tax-evading billionaire hiding behind anonymity.
A ripple of uneasy laughter followed. The wealthy parents exchanged smug glances.
That anonymous benefactor is in this room today. He has been here listening for the past hour.
Heads swiveled. Eyes darted to the front rows, searching for a designer suit or a flashy watch. They scanned past Daiki Sato. His gray jacket blended into the background like a wall no one noticed.
Then tell us who it is. If they're so noble, why hide?
Because he never wanted his son to be treated differently. He wanted the boy judged on merit alone.
Mrs. Takahashi's eyes flickered with suspicion. She scanned the room again, lips pursed. Daiki's hand, resting on his knee, remained perfectly still. The room was a pressure cooker with no name to release it. The principal, seeing the tension ready to snap, called a 10-minute recess. Parents dispersed into the hallway like predators hunting a scent.
We find that donor first. Once we know who he is, we can pressure him to drop his support. Then the vote will be a landslide.
The staff know. The principal said he was here. Let's corner one of the teachers.
They cornered a young homeroom teacher. Their voices low and sharp, but the teacher shook her head, mouth clamped shut. Daiki Sato stood near a tall window at the corridor's end, watching the courtyard. The afternoon light caught nothing in his eyes. Mrs. Takahashi spotted him alone and strode over, her heels clicking like a verdict.
Still here? Don't think this recess will save your son. I'll make sure he never sets foot on that plane.
The trip isn't decided yet. A lot can change in 10 minutes.
She hesitated, a flicker of confusion crossing her face. But before she could push further, the bell rang. They filed back in. The principal stood at the podium, and Daiki Sato resumed his seat. The room felt different, the air heavier, the stakes sharper. During the recess, she had tried to slip a thick envelope to the homeroom teacher. The teacher had only shaken her head, disgusted, but she hadn't given up. As Daiki moved toward his chair, her fingers stretched toward the pocket of his gray jacket.
Looking for something.
I was just brushing off some lint. Don't flatter yourself.
She yanked her hand back and stormed to her seat, heels striking the floor like final arguments. Other parents stared. The principal cleared her throat, drawing attention back to the podium. The tension had shifted. The hunted now watched the hunter.
Now that everyone is seated, let's return to the matter of our anonymous donor.
Fine. Tell us about this faceless donor. We'll see how relevant he is to our decision.
Daiki Sato folded his hands. The slight tilt of his head was the only answer he gave. The principal gestured to the tally sheet still on the table. The vote was incomplete, and everyone knew it hung on a single name. Principal Akiyama didn't look at the tally sheet again. Instead, she reached into her blazer and withdrew a gold-embossed letter.
What's that? A love letter? Get on with it. We have a vote to finish.
She snatched it from the principal's hand and unfolded it, the gold seal catching the light.
To the parents and faculty, I have watched this meeting with great interest. For 10 years, I have funded every scholarship, every trip, every opportunity for children without means. Not because I seek praise, but because a child's future should never be decided by their family's bank account.
The mockery in her voice dried up. Parents now leaned forward, their smugness replaced by something unfamiliar.
Keep reading, Mrs. Takahashi. The next part is very important.
Daiki Sato's expression didn't change, but for the first time, several parents glanced toward him, and they didn't look away. The letter trembled in Mrs. Takahashi's hand. She knew it would strip her of every advantage she had wielded.
I remain anonymous, not out of shame, but for principle. Signed, Daiki Sato.
The name hit the room like a stone dropped into still water. Silence stretched, thick and absolute.
Who is Daiki Sato? I've never heard of anyone by that name.
He's been sitting among us the entire time. The father, in the third row. The one in the gray jacket.
Every head in the room swiveled. The third row, which no one had looked at, suddenly became a spotlight. Mrs. Takahashi's mouth opened, but no sound came out. The letter slipped from her fingers. Daiki Sato did not move. He simply met their stares. One by one, the clique of wealthy parents shrank back, their earlier arrogance nowhere to be found. 10 years of silence had finally spoken, and the room would never be the same. Daiki Sato rose from his chair. No one spoke. The simple act felt like a verdict.
Yes, I am the one who funds this program. I built a successful company, but I never advertised it. My son's worth has nothing to do with my wallet. I wanted him to be seen for who he is, not what I have.
Mr. Sato, earlier I was only concerned for the school's reputation. Please understand.
I heard you clearly, Mrs. Takahashi. You said my son and children like him would embarrass the school.
Mrs. Takahashi's face drained of color. Even Mr. Kondo looked away.
If this discrimination continues, I can withdraw every yen of my funding tomorrow. The scholarships, the facilities, half this building, gone.
He is within his rights, and I will stand with whatever decision he makes.
The wealthy parents exchanged panicked glances. Their children's privileges, their own reputations, all of it balanced on a knife's edge. Daiki Sato had only to speak one more word, and their world would crumble. He let the silence do the work.
I propose a new school rule. Effective immediately, no child will be excluded from any activity based on family wealth. I want an open vote on this policy right now.
If this is what it takes, I support the vote.
All in favor of the non-exclusion policy, please raise your hands.
The neutral parents, who had been silent all evening, lifted their hands almost as one.
This is coercion, not democracy. I won't be part of it.
Without my fund, the school loses half its classrooms. Your daughter's science lab, the gym, the library, gone. Is that the principle you want to defend?
Mr. Kondo's jaw tightened. Sweat beaded on his forehead. The room was a sea of raised hands, except for one stubborn arm still crossed. Daiki Sato's hand remained motionless, as if he already knew how this would end. Mr. Kondo's crossed arms remained like a dam against a flood. Every other hand in the room was raised. Daiki's gaze fell to his wallet, where a worn photo of his son peeked from the leather.
You will not be invisible. Not tonight, not ever.
Mr. Kondo's arm trembled. The principal's steady eyes seemed to ask, "What will you choose?"
Fine. For the sake of my daughter.
His hand rose, the last one. The room froze at the sight of total agreement. Unanimous. The word didn't need to be spoken for everyone to feel it.
The non-exclusion policy passes unanimously. Effective immediately.
The clique of wealthy parents sat petrified, their reign of exclusion over in a single vote. Daiki Sato's hand finally moved, resting on his knee as if the battle had never happened. But the world had changed. Principal Akiyama picked up the pen and added Riku Sato's name to the trip roster, along with every other scholarship student.
All scholarship students are now confirmed for the overseas trip. No exceptions.
Mrs. Takahashi shoved her chair back, the screech cutting through the silence, and stormed out without a word. Other wealthy parents followed, but their children would still go. Now, as equals.
Thank you, Principal, for standing with me.
It was long overdue, Mr. Sato. This school owes you more than it can ever repay.
The meeting adjourned. Parents filtered out into the corridor, the air still thick with disbelief. Daiki walked out into the fading afternoon, a quiet smile touching his face for the first time.
He never needed to know all this. He just needed to be seen.
He pocketed his keys and started the short drive home, where another heart was waiting for good news. The front door clicked open. Riku was at the kitchen table, textbooks spread before him like a small fortress of effort.
Riku, there's something I need to tell you about the trip.
Riku's head lifted, his eyes searching his father's face for the answer he had been afraid to hope for.
You are going. The scholarship exclusion was voted down. Every student, regardless of wealth, is included.
Riku didn't speak. He just launched himself from the chair and wrapped his arms around his father. Daiki held him, a rare crack in his composure. The years of silence had been for this.
I've never been prouder of you. You earned this, Riku. Not because of me, but because of me, but because of you.
That night, the house felt lighter than it had in years. The next morning, the school bulletin board displayed the updated trip roster. At the top, clear and undeniable, Riku Sato, the quiet boy with the gray-jacketed father, was now the most seen child in the school. The day of the trip, the airport buzzed with nervous excitement. Riku's group gathered near the gate.
This is your moment. Enjoy every second.
I will. Dad, thank you for believing in me. As per the new rule, the scholarship students boarded first and took the front seats. Mrs. Takahashi's daughter and other wealthy children filed in behind, faces begrudging. A teacher checked names and ensured the seating policy. Daiki watched Riku disappear into the jet bridge, heart full but eyes steady.
He's going to be fine. He's always been fine. I just made sure the world saw it.
As the plane taxied, Daiki turned to leave. The morning sun, catching his gray jacket, his hand, steady as ever, slipped into his pocket. The hardest part was over. Now it was Riku's turn. At the museum workshop, the groups formed quickly. Mrs. Takahashi's daughter spotted Riku and turned away with a sneer. A teacher stepped forward immediately, her voice cutting through the chatter as she cited the new policy. Riku's face fell, but before he could step back, another scholarship student grabbed his arm and pulled him into the circle. By lunch, they were laughing over bento boxes, swapping stories from home, as the old barriers seemed to crack. The teacher moved through the groups, enforcing the random assignments until the wealthy kids' complaints died into silence. That evening, Daiki's phone lit up with a photo. Riku beaming between two new friends, arms slung over shoulders.
There it is. That's the smile I've been waiting for.
He saved the photo and typed a quick reply, then slid the phone gently into his jacket pocket. Daiki leaned back in his chair, a rare sense of peace settling over him. The trip was already a success. He looked at the photo once more before returning to his work, a quiet smile lingering on his face. The students returned from the trip to a school assembly. Principal Akiyama stood at the front, her expression firm.
The new non-exclusion policy is now permanent. Any violation will be treated seriously.
Several wealthy students stepped forward, heads lowered, and offered public apologies to the scholarship kids. Riku Sato listened, his hands clasped, a quiet acceptance settling between them. From the back of the hall, Daiki watched. No one noticed him. That was just as he wanted.
Let this be the start of a school where every child is valued equally.
As the assembly ended, a few students approached Riku. Their shoulders relaxed for the first time. Daiki slipped out quietly, his simple gray jacket blending into the corridor. His hand, calm as always, found his pocket. The work was far from over, but today was a step. He carried an unshakable peace, knowing his son no longer walked alone. The school gathered once more, but this time the mood was different. Principal Akiyama called Daiki Sato to the front. Mrs. Takahashi sat among the crowd, her clapping stiff and forced. She unveiled a gold plaque, its inscription honoring the man who had funded a decade of dreams.
I am not here for praise. I am here because I believe every child deserves an equal chance. My wealth should not determine my son's worth, nor any child's.
The room listened, the earlier arrogance now replaced by a grudging respect. Mrs. Takahashi's hands met. Each clap, a surrender she never wanted to give. Daiki stepped back, his message delivered. The plaque would remain, but his work was not for walls. The gold lettering glinted, established by Daiki Sato for the children of tomorrow. And as he left the stage, his hand found his pocket, steady as always. Weeks later, the school board unanimously voted. The non-exclusion policy was now permanent, etched into the school's code.
From this day forward, no child will be excluded due to family wealth. This school belongs to everyone.
Daiki received a stack of letters from scholarship parents, each one thanking the quiet benefactor who had changed their children's lives.
These words mean more than any plaque. This is why I stayed silent for a decade.
At school, Riku stood before his class, delivering a presentation with the confidence his father had quietly nurtured. Daiki watched from the back of the room, unnoticed, a quiet pride softening the lines on his face. Riku's voice carried, his ideas landing with the same steady assurance his father wore every day.
You never needed my money, Riku. You only needed the world to see what I've always seen.
After the class, Principal Akiyama caught Daiki's eye and nodded. No words were needed. Daiki slipped his hand into his pocket, the same steady gesture, and walked out into a future that finally felt fair. A year later, the same hall held a meeting, but the air was different, lighter, as if a weight had been lifted. Mrs. Takahashi sat quietly, her pearl necklace now a reminder of a past she'd rather forget. Mr. Kondo nodded stiffly as Daiki passed, a forced civility in every muscle. Daiki took his usual seat in the third row, no longer invisible, but still unnoticed.
I am proud to report that our scholarship students have achieved the highest averages this year. Riku Sato is among the top.
A warm murmur spread. Even the most reluctant parents clapped.
Riku's name on that list. That's all I ever wanted.
He let the applause wash over him, his smile hidden beneath a calm exterior.
It is a better school now.
She walked away before he could reply. Daiki simply nodded, then stepped out into the sun, his son's name still echoing in the hall. The front door clicked shut, and the warmth of home wrapped around Daiki. Riku was already at the kitchen table, a stack of high school brochures spread before him. "Dad, look at these.
I am thinking of the science program. They have a robotics lab.
That sounds perfect for you. You've always been curious about how things work.
He slid into the chair beside Riku, and they leaned over the brochures, pointing at photos and laughing at old inside jokes.
Remember when you taught me to fix my bike? That's when I knew I wanted to build things.
All those years of worry and you turned out just fine.
Then Riku laughed. That carefree sound Daiki had fought so hard to protect.
The best investment I ever made wasn't in a company. It was in you.
I am going to make you proud, Dad.
Daiki didn't need to answer. His hand found Riku's, and they sat in the kind of silence that speaks louder than words. A framed photo hung on the school wall. The scholarship kids, Riku at the center, beaming. Beneath it, a small gold plaque. Principal Akiyama passed and paused. Her smile was quiet but full. She touched the plaque briefly, then walked on. The legacy wasn't in the metal. It was in those faces, across town. In a modest office, Daiki Sato worked. A photo of Riku faced him from the desk corner. He glanced at it, his steady hand resting on the papers in front of him. A message chimed. Riku's robotics class update. Daiki's rare smile appeared. He typed a short reply, then leaned back. The hum of the office was a calm rhythm.
This is enough. This has always been enough.
He looked out the window at the setting sun, then slipped his hand into his pocket. The hand that had funded 1,000 dreams rested, as always, in peace. The laptop clicked shut, and Daiki rose from his desk. The day's work was done. He slipped on his simple gray jacket, the same as ever, phone in pocket. He stepped out into the hallway, nodding to a passing colleague. The evening sun filtered through the office windows, casting long, peaceful shadows. As he pushed open the exit, the cool air greeted him like an old friend. Outside, the world was ordinary. Parents drove home, children played, life hummed along. Daiki checked his watch. School would be out soon. He turned in the direction of the school, his footsteps steady and unhurried. And somewhere above, a title card cast its shadow. At the PTA meeting, rich parents voted to ban my son for being poor. But Daiki Sato walked on. The quiet hero, the invisible hand, and the world was better for it.